So, I'm recording this video at 8:52 p.m. PST on March 6th. It's Wednesday, and we're 2 days removed from the NHL trade deadline. I get it, you could ask, Lego, did you not just make a video already talking about Jake Guentzel and the Canucks like 5 hours ago? And yes, that is true, but we also did use that video as an opportunity to talk about some of the Canucks roster moves. Brisebois and Bud Colson got sent down. This video, though, is going over some of the final news and reports that we had seen from today in regards to the Vancouver Canucks and Jake Guentzel, stuff that we did not end up talking about in that previous video. So, if this video gets uploaded late at night, I feel confident enough that we're not going to see some sort of a Guentzel trade that becomes official or anything. So this video I feel like has a very limited lifespan, but because hockey moves quickly, the business is booming, baby. Let's go out there and talk about some of these extra notes, starting out with this one that was published earlier this afternoon by Kevin Weeks. Plenty of potential deal scenarios out there right now, but this one I heard has caught my attention. A potential three-way deal between the Vancouver Canucks getting Jake Guentzel, Jake DeBrusk going to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Elias Lindholm going over to the Boston Bruins. Now, this is just a random rumor that Kevin Weeks is talking about that he's heard floating around there, but of course, we can all acknowledge, I mean, if you think about it, Lindholm out and Guentzel in for Vancouver, that's a huge dub for the Canucks. You have DeBrusk out and Lindholm in for the Boston Bruins. That's a pretty big win for them. And then losing out on Guentzel and getting DeBrusk in the process is probably not the biggest dub for the Penguins. I'm sorry, Jake DeBrusk. That's just kind of how it goes. I mean, it's Jake for Jake, right? You got a nice little transitory period of names, but still, the value here is not all aligned, so you could understand why this idea, if it's one for one, is probably not going to go through. However, the reason I am highlighting this idea is because Emily Kaplan went out there and replied to this saying that NHL front offices have been more creative this year, but this would be something. This update, though, at 3:52 p.m. says the Penguins are still weighing their offers on Jake Guentzel. A few teams, including the Rangers, Carolina, and Vancouver, are still in. Now, what are some of the extra things that we had seen? Well, this is also partly why I'm making this video. Earlier this evening at 6:22 p.m., Frank Saravalli tweeted out that it's not definitive, but it sounds like the teams in the mix are Carolina, Florida, New York, Vancouver, and Vegas. Oh my goodness, dude. The Vegas Golden Knights just got Noah Hanifin, and now they're involved in Guentzel too? Are you kidding me? We heard out of the blue from earlier this afternoon from Elliot Friedman, oh yeah, by the way, Vegas is involved in Hanifin, and then half an hour later the trade got done. So now we're hearing that Vegas is involved in Guentzel unless something changes, Saravalli says. The belief here is that Vancouver and Florida both made strong pushes, but they don't have the goods to pull it off. Here's something to note as well. The Vegas Golden Knights could potentially create more cap room if Alec Martinez goes on the LTIR, and all of the replies are just clowning on Vegas. They can create magical cap space if Gary and the NHLPA look away. We gotta fix this cap circumvention loophole. How many guys do they have on the LTIR? The Vegas Golden Cheaters. Yeah, it's, we talked about this in the last video. The Vegas Golden Knights don't really have the best reputation, but I'm gonna go out there and say that if Alec Martinez is indeed injured for realsies, and he's projected to being out until the end of the regular season, fans like you and me, we don't really have the right to say that any injustice is going on. Can we complain about it? Sure. We have the right to complain about anything, but still, it's not illegal. So, there's your little update on the Vegas Golden Knights. If they put Martinez on the cap, or on the LTIR, there is a big opportunity for them to get even more spending dollars. Now, part of the reason why I also thought this entire thing was very interesting is because of that Hanifin trade we had just talked about. Here is the post from Frank Saravalli in regards to the full trade details from that Hanifin trade. Now, this doesn't really relate too much to Guentzel, but I do think it is worth noting. In regards to the Calgary Flames, they're getting themselves Vegas's 2025 first-round pick, but it is conditional. And the condition is that the pick that will be sent over to Calgary is the 2025 first, unless Vegas trades that pick this deadline. Then, the Calgary Flames would instead receive the 2026 Vegas Golden Knights first. So right now, Vegas has sent over just a temporary first-round pick to Calgary in this Hanifin trade. But Vegas has the right to say, okay, sorry, Calgary, we're not going to give you our 2025 first. We'll give you the 2026 first instead, because we're thinking about trading this 2025 first that we have to some other team. Right now, it's temporarily in Vegas's possession because they do have the right or the opportunity to trade it. And it's interesting that Vegas has stipulated that first could slide to 2026. It wants full optionality to also trade 2024 and 2025 first-round picks at this year's trade deadline. So with this in mind, and with Alec Martinez also potentially going on the LTIR, Vegas could legitimately outbid Vancouver for Jake gosh darn Guentzel. This sucks, dude. This sucks. And when it comes to the Canucks and Guentzel conversation, here is what Josh Yohei, Pittsburgh Penguins beat reporter, wrote about. From what I've been told tonight, Jake Guentzel is not going to Vancouver unless Kyle Dubas's asking price goes down. The Canucks would love to land him, but Dubas is asking for a price they aren't currently willing to pay. It's gonna be interesting. Furthermore to this, we also had Frank Saravelli step on to the Canucks Conversation podcast with David Quadrelli, and that's Patrick Johnson on there. Nice. He says this about the Canucks and their Guentzel situation. They've really kept tabs on the scene over there. They want to do more, but the Canucks do not want to dip into their prospect pool with Lekaramaki, Willander, and the other Pettersson. They just want to tinker around the edges. And with that, I can say I respect that a lot, how we've all been talking about whether or not the Canucks would dive into their prospect pool, trade away Willander, trade away Lekaramaki, trade away the other Pettersson to make room for a guy on the team in the short term. But because Alvin and Rutherford do not want to step into that territory because they want to keep some of their younger guys, I do respect that. My question is, though, is there a point at which they break? You can bend so far, right? And Kyle Dubas is going to have his ask, and he's going to want these prospects, want these picks and young guys. But do the Vancouver Canucks break? Who really knows? I mean, the first reply here, Rutherford or Dubas? Pick your fighter. That is cool. And another reply says, Jim Rutherford is negotiating through Josh Yohei. Reminds me of the good old days. That's so funny. Like, the idea that the Vancouver executives could be using the media in Pittsburgh to manipulate and negotiate these terms by putting out this information on public forums, that's crazy. But it's not all too unbelievable. Like, I could understand if that actually does happen. So at the end of the day, it turns out that the Canucks and Guentzel conversation did not finalize tonight. The Penguins, we heard from yesterday's reports that they wanted to get this Guentzel trade done soon. And by soon, they literally meant tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow is technically today because that tomorrow thing was said yesterday. Sorry, I'm getting all confusing here, but we thought that Guentzel would be traded today. And now it's 9 p.m., we probably are going to be able to survive the night without a Guentzel trade, so I feel pretty confident in being able to upload this video. But from now, to end off everything crazy, all the shenanigans, all the trades that we had seen today, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Vancouver Canucks not being able to make a trade for Guentzel, how Vegas could very well get in there and pull this off because they still have their 2025 first technically, how they could create more cap space with Alec Martinez going on the LTIR, and how they have the opportunity to send everything they want to Pittsburgh and to win Guentzel over Vancouver. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.